a name synonymous to renewable energy and clean energy, a man who's passionate and the industry and the engineering of green earth. I welcome Mr. Tobias Winter, Director, Indo-German Energy Forum Support Office. Welcome, Mr. Tobias.
Namaste, Amitji. Namaskar, listeners.
Always a pleasure to have you, sir. So, Mr. Winter, let's come directly to the point, whereby we have a couple of questions which people would want to hear from Tobias Winter. So, the first question for you for the day is: what are the various focus areas of German RE companies, but also government of Germany in India?
Yeah, I think it's no surprise, but yes, it's solar energy, and it's the main area of cooperation between German companies in the renewable energy sector, but also of government of Germany. But yes, Germany is also strong in wind, also offshore wind, biomass, and particularly biogas. No. Another topic where a lot of German companies are very experienced and already established in the Indian market or eyeing on the Indian market is everything around RE grid integration. And with the RE grid integration comes regulation. Flexibility is key. The whole system needs to adapt to fluctuating sources of renewable energy. So everything which makes the Indian electricity grid more flexible on the generation side, but also on the demand side, including transmission, including grid codes. There are a lot of companies involved to make it happen, 450 gigawatts by 2030.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tobias. So, Tobias, how does the Indo-German Energy Forum support a smooth technology implementation to India?
Well, often the technology itself is not much the issue. No, the technology is proven. What's important is, as I just pointed out, the RE grid integration. No, so renewables came a lot faster in Germany than we thought. It was always, solar, wind, but it will never be more than 4%. Then it became 10%. Then it became 15%. Today we are above 50% of renewable energy generation compared to the demand in Germany. So a lot of flexibility needed to be provided, no? And 50% renewable energies in the electricity mix, that's just 50% on an annual average, no? That means that there's days when it goes way higher. And then there's regions of Germany where renewable energy generation sometimes goes up to 200%, no? So a lot of flexibility, a lot of grid services to be provided. I'm not too sure to which extent our listeners are actually into the electricity sector, but if you study IEA data, you can actually see that around 40% of the entire investment in the electricity sector goes into grid infrastructure and everything which is related, no? Forecasting, but that would also include new transmission lines, transformers, to some extent also batteries. So talking about the power market, we focus a lot on the generation side, which there is around 60% of the pie to be earned, but 40% of the money goes into transmission and the power system and the grid integration as such.
So to add on to the same question, and to repeat that, so how does IGF support a smooth technology implementation to India? So how does the technology implementation come to India through IGF?
Well, that's a little bit what I already touched, is that the topic of RE grid integration is important, and automatically with Indo-German Development Cooperation focusing on these topics, there come a lot of programs, there come a lot of credit lines also through our development bank, KfW, which supports, for example, government of India in setting up transmission lines, which supports government of India in designing the forecasting system to really predict how much solar generation will be there, how much wind generation will be there. So yeah, it's a lot about public investment, especially in India, supported by international credit lines. But India has to offtake these credit lines. No, it's not the sheer gift to India. India is investing, and India wants to invest because it has the vision and the mission to go and increase the share of renewable energies. And then there's definitely the private sector, and also the private sector is supported. So Indo-German Energy Forum itself is more like a network platform. A German investor would come, he would say, I'm interested in this and that. And then it depends on if it's a public off-taker or if it's a private partner, which sort of like support programs are there, which kind of credit lines are there. Often it is actually assessing Indian companies in terms of in which direction to go, which German partners maybe to ship on board. So we are working on many different fronts to just make renewable energy investment happen.
Great, great. So if I may ask that, how does Tobias personally see the Indian clean energy sector in another 10 to 15 years from now?
I would actually say, how do I see it today already? Because that determines the future. Solar is the oil of the future. And India will become some sort of Saudi Arabia of solar for sure. And it's already number 3 in the world in terms of new annual installations. And second comes wind, and we believe wind is pretty much underestimated right now. So we foresee a big future for wind also, because as you're well aware, the sun is not shining at night. And yeah, luckily in your country, wind is blowing specifically in the evening times. There is many sites in the country which have not that much explored yet, with a generation profile of where less wind is generation is happening during the day phase when solar is there, and then when you need the electricity at night, specifically when you have the peak demand later at night, then wind is actually very good in India, delivering most of its power during the nighttime. And as you are well aware, government of India, discoms, they are willing to pay 2x, 3x more for electricity at night, no, than during the day. So as long as we stick with 24/7 electricity tariffs, then wind might be always slightly more expensive so far than solar. But if we really recognize wind as a source which can deliver power in the evening times and at night, then it becomes that much complementary to solar that it really makes sense to also give wind more money for generating at night. No, we could think of a, so let's say 2 time frame tariff, no, where during the day solar might get the same as solar. Wind might get the same as solar, and then in the evening time, wind could get more. No, so how do I see the future once again? You know, another fact about India is that somewhere in India the sun is always shining. I don't know if you're well aware of the generation profile of solar of the US, for example, or Germany, because a lot of people compare renewable energy history and the development with Germany. But for example, in Germany during Jan, Feb, and November, December, we have not that much sun, to be honest. And we generate almost all of our solar energy during the summer months. No, it's okay. Yeah, there is solar generation also during the winter months, but it's not evenly distributed. In India, this is not the case. In India, it is absolutely evenly distributed. We had analyzed the worst solar generation day compared to the best solar generation day, and the factor is 2. So if you just double invest in solar, you can cover 100% with solar during the day already, yeah? And then use the rest for the night. There is not one day where the sun in India is not shining. Some people always say, yeah, we have 20, 30 days without sun. That might be true for one state, for one region, during monsoon time, for example. But all over India, monsoon is not everywhere at the same time.
True.
All over India, the worst you can get is 50% of the maximum. That is a factor 2 only. So if you use the term solar energy security, then one can say India is one of the countries in the world with the highest solar energy security level. And you can bet on solar because it is always there. And while we in Europe have to think about long-term storage, seasonal storage, how to get this energy from the summer into the winter, especially for our heating demand, then it becomes expensive. And then after a certain point, now we have reached 50%, as I just said, after a certain point, it becomes really a lot more challenging and difficult to get to higher percentages. India might be at 11, 12% renewables right now. But with this resource, solar energy, every day, that is some sort of like solar base load. Yeah, you just have to overcome the night. And how do you overcome the night? Well, one source we already mentioned, wind. Second, yeah, biomass, biogas, yes. Hydro, definitely. But then adding pump storage, using the solar energy to pump the water up and use it as a natural battery. But then certainly also think about lithium-ion batteries, larger batteries, as they're popping up all over the world and also now coming to India. So yeah, I mean, once again, I think the future for India is bright, and it is going to be even brighter and brighter by each year.
So to all the young entrepreneurs who are listening and looking forward to getting the RE sector, this is the wise words coming from the man. So the next question, especially touches
Sorry
on
for
to what.
interrupting, Amiji, but that is so clear. Transport will become electric. So now just figure out how much is India spending on oil and fossil to power transport. So all of that will have to come from electricity. Let's say almost all. Where does the electricity come from? What is the cheapest source of electricity? So
Solar.
sector will growth. Same is heating sector, manufacturing sector, switching slowly to hydrogen. Yeah. Where is the hydrogen being produced from? Electricity. Again, it's growing, no? So you can actually say the electricity sector, like it is right now, transitioning from fossil to renewables and multiplied by XXX. No.
Yeah.
So if I would be like born in this country and be a little bit interested in this kind of area, I can promise, no, this is the sector to be, no.
Great, great. So I'll add on to this where we are heading to right now. So the next question would be, so is there a chance for a special RE market segment to quickly evolve, maybe also for youngsters looking forward to getting into the energy sector?
Yeah, I mean, you see lots of things evolving already automatically, no? Because, for example, states are not willing to accept net metering at certain kilowatt levels. So that automatically pushes people into storage because you want to maximize your self-consumption. What does that mean? That you don't want to feed any electricity into the grid, no? So what you do is you store it in the battery and consume it yourself. In the residential sector, it may not be that attractive right now because of relatively low tariffs. So it's still often cheaper to get the electricity from the discom. But in the commercial and industrial sector, if prices for storage in India are falling, India may have to rethink how it structures and subsidizes the low tariff customers, no? Because industrial and commercial, they will just go for self-consumption, no? Please be aware that the cost for storage in India is in an international, at least at utility scale, at an international comparison, India is ranking amongst the highest cost countries still. Because you want to produce it in India, you put a lot of high tariffs, import tariffs, because there is not so much experience there yet, and so on. So countries, high labor cost countries like Germany, they count on electricity storage costs per levelized cost per kilowatt hour from storage, minimum 30, if not 40% less than what India pays per kilowatt hour for the same battery. So imagine India stepping big into storage. Once India steps big into storage and brings the prices down to European level, and later on definitely below European level, yeah, then PV plus storage will just boom. And we see this happening within the next 2 to 3 years, definitely. Then other technologies coming up, and especially to India, bifacial, no? Bifacial solar already now starting to be manufactured in India. If you see Canada, US, Europe, Australia, statistics show that in 2020, the market for bifacial solar panel is around 50% of all ground mounted. Do you have an idea what is the percentage of bifacial ground mounted in India?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but we guess it's like around 1%, even less maybe. No? So definitely this technology now being manufactured also in India for export will be also used in India. No? So we see this coming, and with bifacial, lots of opportunities come. You might have heard about agri-photovoltaics, where you actually put solar above the plants to protect them from the sun. But since you use bifacial and ideally glass, sun rays can pass through, and the plants can grow protected mainly from the sun. They get enough sunlight to grow, but now you can use high cash crop yields, higher cash crops, high yield cash crops, sorry, which generate more income. Plus, you have the money from the electricity. Then again, vertical PV. You put vertical PV. That's coming to India now. Where the sun in the morning is generating the electricity. Then during midday, when all the other solar is generating, you are generating very less. And then in the evening, when you actually need the power again most, before the sun goes down, you generate the most again. So I would say bifacial is opening lots of doors in India, and we see that coming in the year 21, 22. It's already on its way. Yeah. And then some future, because you asked youngsters to look, and maybe some are still studying, so the PV plus battery and the bifacial wave might be already ongoing. But what's really upcoming is everything in regard to aggregation and control of small scale assets. So I don't know if you're aware of companies in Europe or Germany where household owners own a battery, but the battery is managed by a discom. It's like part of a huge virtual power plant. So they buy electricity at the IEX. In Germany, it's not called IEX, but at the electricity exchange. And they charge the battery from green power, only green they're using. Yeah. They buy it at the G10, so today, the green term ahead market. Charge your battery. You can also charge it from the solar, from your roof. And then when the cost is high at night, they sell this electricity out of your battery, So you give them the right to have access to your battery, and they're making money with your battery. And this becomes interesting if there's thousands of these batteries. And already in Europe, I think only the company Sonnen, German company, 30,000.
Wow.
So we are talking about megawatt scale batteries with people having these small batteries in their homes, but using them to charge their electric car, using them for their own consumption, and whatever they don't use, this virtual power plant utility is using it, and they give their customers special tariffs even, yeah. So it's like with mobile, no? Earlier you had to like pay per minute and so on. Now you just have a flat, right? Same is happening in Europe now. Electricity is not that much a topic anymore. You just buy a flat rate, no? So yeah, so that will definitely also come, no? That will come.
So for the youngsters, the industry is again, it's a super industry to be part of, and it's a bright industry to be part of. And all those youngsters who are looking forward to be part of our industry, this is the time to venture into it, right, Mr. Winter? So,
Yeah.
Mr. Winter, yeah. So no,
Well,
let
sorry to
me.
interrupt.
Yeah.
Aggregation control of small scale assets is not there in India. The other technologies and ideas I said they are there. What's there
Yeah.
in India, and that is really forward looking already, is the group metering policy in Delhi, where several investors, owners can hold a renewable energy asset and then be at different places procuring, for example, the electricity which is fed in through a solar asset somewhere else. No, but what I'm saying is that these modern thoughts and mechanisms of bottom up electricity generation, no, decentralized electricity generation. These business models are coming. It's just a question of time. And the earlier our youngsters look into this area, the earlier they will be able to yeah, form a startup or participate in a startup or identify these maybe also already European or other countries, champions companies which may want to open up a subsidiary in India, and for the benefit of all, no, because at the end electricity will become green and will become cheaper.
I get that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Winter, going back to Germany, do you see a total unbundling of the discom sector coming as already a reality in Germany?
It will definitely come. I mean, we were speaking about it the last couple of minutes. Whatever I spoke about, aggregation and control of small-scale assets and these kind of things require unbundling. No, so in Germany, we are talking about. It's not all over Germany the same, but roundabout you can say, I don't want to say something wrong, but let's say 150 different utilities or discoms per geographical point in Germany. So in cities like Berlin, the capital, it would be even up to 300. Yeah. So you're sitting in your home and you decide, okay, no, now what kind of electricity do I want? Do I want green electricity? Do I want green electricity from solar and battery only? Do I want to have green electricity only from biogas because I'm a farmer and I want to support farmers? Do I want to have wind energy only because all my family works in the wind sector? You can choose. You can also choose you want only coal. You can choose anything you want. You have your freedom. That is pure unbundling. No, you choose your electricity. You have the same in India already. No, with the mobile provider. No, and the unbundling is not. India is already on the unbundling way. No, in terms of generation, you already have private, state, central. So generation is unbundled. But in terms of distribution, there's no unbundling in India yet. And in terms of everything in regard to electricity sale, there's no unbundling yet. No. In Germany, it's even one step ahead. As I already told you, external companies are managing the battery in your house. No. So we have the unbundling not only for the discom for the distribution grid until the meter, we actually have special, so to say, mini discoms, which are only in charge of the meter. So I can choose what kind of power I want with company X, but I can also choose I want this special meter because, and then I go with another company for this meter, yeah, because this meter allows me to control things in my house automatically in combination with my solar roof. And I have another company which is managing the battery in my house to earn additional money. So I have actually three companies. Now you would say, yeah, but that's complicated. Let's better have one. Well, there is so many electricity companies. That's why I said, for example, Berlin 300, which aggregate these companies. So you give three signatures, but on the cover sheet, no, you only make the no, the agreement and the billing and everything is through one company. But this one company is the aggregator for these innovative businesses. No, so it's not complicated. You just say, I want to be the coolest, and you know this one is rated as the one which manages the battery, which manages the meter, and which only gives green. You sign, and there you go. No?
It's a
So
single
this will
window
come to India
interface.
definitely, but it will take time. No, so some critics will say it takes 10 years. And some people like me have the hope that this might even come, yeah, maybe in 5 years. Yeah. And partially even maybe in 2 or 3. You know, who knows?
Earlier the better. We look forward to it. So, are there any programs which are run by Indo-German Energy Forum in India which train and facilitate young budding students, engineers, or entrepreneurs? And how can these programs be availed?
Well, we are a political dialogue platform, no? So I spoke a lot about companies and interest of German companies, but at the end, we are here on behalf of government of India and government of Germany, having agreed to cooperate in the field of renewable energies and to push the sector, be it through investments, be it through capacity building, be it through financing, be it through anything you can imagine to make renewables happen in India, but also to learn from good experiences in India, where Germany maybe was still hesitant to implement it, and then now seeing India is doing it, so why don't we also do it in Germany? Um, yeah, most of the capacity building programs are actually through government of India. No, so you know the Green Jobs Council. So we support the Green Jobs Council, be it through trainings, training materials, whatever. So we try to fit in the existing system. We don't try to replicate or add anything on top. No? Yeah, so there's so many different initiatives, no? The Indo-German Energy Forum is just a platform which brings these initiatives together. But, main stakeholder is the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Power, and the German Ministry for Energy, and two other ministries, the Minister Development Corporation, German Ministry for Development Corporation, and the German Ministry for Environment. And all these ministries support each other on pushing the renewable energy agenda in India. And that means, again, supporting existing platforms in terms of training and capacity building. But yes, we are doing dozens of webinars, workshops, fact-finding missions to Germany. You could also call this all capacity building, no? So, yeah, just to name a few, no?
Well, thank you so much because we ourselves are part of all the support which has been given through IGF, to all our program and our green initiatives. So thank you so much for that, So it's
Yeah, thank
always a
you for
pleasure.
recognizing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I would also want to know, we've been talking about a lot of technologies in our little time what we've had. So I want to know, so what other promising technologies may come up in the near future? You were talking about a few of them. In fact, you spoke about a little about green hydrogen as well. You were speaking about hydrogen, so let's speak about green hydrogen as well. So if you could, throw some
Yeah.
light on to.
So
Yeah.
some as you rightly said, I had already mentioned, no? So vertical PV, agri-photovoltaics, this will definitely come. I mean, I think the latest study we did, it's not published yet, but just 1% of the cultivable land of India being covered by agrivoltaics would be enough to supply 1/3 of the entire electricity demand of India in 2040, already calculating that India is switching towards e-mobility.
Wow.
This is a potential is enormous. But yeah, also other technologies, especially storage technologies. So one storage medium is hydrogen. No? So the storage technology itself, one could say, would be maybe the electrolyzer and the fuel cell. But there's also other storage technologies coming up, like the so-called Carnot batteries. That's a very interesting technology to look into, which is being further developed in Germany, but also in Chile and some other country, which means actually thermal batteries. So what you're doing is you're using salts or some other medium to store huge amounts of electricity in the form of heat, which is a little bit easier and cheaper to maintain. At least that is the promise, yeah, and then re-electrify. So you use a lot of you lose a lot of electricity by heating it up, heating something up. Yeah, it's not, let's say, the most efficient way of storing electricity. One thinks in the beginning, but because of the long lifetime and because of the huge amounts of electricity you can store in these kind of Carnot batteries, it is definitely a niche product which may become more important than we think of today. No? So if we talk about large amounts of solar energy in excess during the day being stored, definitely decentralized batteries, what we have spoken about, yeah. But in the future also, no, we need to think of having gigawatts being replaced, no? So one thing that is being analyzed in Germany, but also Chile, as I mentioned, is to actually convert old coal-fired power plants in Carnot batteries. So you take out the boiler and everything which is related to combustion, but you leave the turbine, the generator, you leave the cooling tower, you leave all the electricity connection. Let's say half of the coal-fired power plant you just leave there. Everything is there, grid connection, everything is there. And instead of the boiler, now you're putting the so-called Carnot battery where you store this liquid salt, no? And again, this is a great opportunity for India because there's a lot of fear of job losses in the thermal sector, right? So
True.
BHEL, I mean, they grew with the coal sector, right? So now BHEL being able to actually weld and design these tanks for thermal storage for Carnot batteries saves, I would say, like tens of thousands, if not like 300,000 jobs. I don't know how many people are employed, but this is steel, this is welding, this is a lot of existing labor still required for these kind of batteries. Definitely interesting technology to look deeper into. Yeah.
Right. I totally understand. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, so we've discussed a lot of things, Let's come back to Tobias Winter again. So you've been living here for more than 5 years now in India, right, Tobias? So what makes you so passionate about the Indian energy sector?
Well, I think I made it a little bit clear already, no? Uh, just looking towards the resource sun, no? I mean, somewhere in India, the sun is always shining. As I said, we don't have that in Germany. So knowing that India can actually go for 99% or 100% renewables so much easier than Europe and then so many other developed countries. I mean, India has huge advantage. It's amazing, no? You have this resource. And if you see, you spoke about hydrogen, sorry, I missed this out, then digging too deep into maybe the thermal storage aspect, having that resource at such a low cost, that also gives you the advantage to generate hydrogen as the lowest cost worldwide, no? So if you see the projections of the analysts for, so to say, cheapest cost of manufacture production of hydrogen in the world, India is always on the map. I mean, India belongs to the 4 or 5 regions in the world where you will probably achieve a cost of around $1 per kg hydrogen in 2030 already. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, India is the place to be. Yeah.
So that's why I introduced you. The name synonymous to renewable energy and clean energy, Mr. Tobias Winter. That's how we started the program. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the passion comes up from. And we were,